Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Pearson Solutions to the new QCE Senior Science Syllabus. My name is Monica and I'll be hosting today's webinar. Thank you, over to you, Alicia.
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia Brown, the series publisher for Pearson Queensland Senior Science. Thanks for joining me. I hope that you find this afternoon's workshop worthwhile. Thank you too to Doug Bale from our partner PASCO, who also joins us this afternoon to discuss how PASCO are collaborating with Pearson to develop Sparklabs for every mandatory practical in the new QCE syllabus. This is a snapshot of what we'll cover in this afternoon's workshop. At Pearson, we take education seriously and are investing and working closely with experienced Queensland senior science teachers and the new QCE syllabus to ensure that we develop resources that support, align and prepare teachers and students for the biggest change in Queensland education in 50 years. Queensland education is about to undergo significant change with the implementation of a new senior syllabus from 2019. Key changes include new assessment with rigorous quality assurance and external examination, subject matter with a lot of new content and a requirement for data analysis, and there are also mandatory practicals to be completed. The new syllabus is highly prescriptive and uses cognitive verbs and a modified version of Mazzano and Kendall's taxonomy to define subject matter and outcomes. Pearson have been actively supporting Queensland schools, sharing updates and insights as we've closely followed developments of the new QCE since mid-2016. We have attended STAQ Senior Science and Quest Lab Tech conferences and are now beginning to share the resources we have been developing through this series of workshops to ensure you have everything you need now that you're ready and starting to prepare for implementation. Available on the marketing page now are samples of chapters from our 3 student books for Units 1 and 2, TLAPs for Units 1 and 2, and samples of our skills and assessment workbooks will become available shortly. By now, many of you will have begun to form ideas around the syllabus requirements and the things you'll be looking for when selecting a resource to support implementation. Some schools have started writing programs, whilst others are starting to teach some of the new subject matter. Regardless of what stage you are at, I'm sure, like me, you'll be feeling there's a lot of work that needs to go in to ensure successful implementation. When making a decision about a resource for teaching and learning, there are many factors that come into play: price, availability, flexibility, and suitability. However, only one of these makes a difference in the classroom: how well suited the resource is to address all aspects of the syllabus. Whilst the best resources will do a lot of the work for you, saving preparation and planning time, allowing you to teach with confidence, they should also provide reliable and up-to-date content, align with the syllabus and include a range of learning activities and tasks to build skills and knowledge needed to fulfil the course assessment requirements. Pearson are experienced and trusted providers of content for senior science and are the preferred choice in every state with a high-stakes assessment. Pearson understand the demands of senior science courses and engaged experienced Queensland science teachers and other educational experts to work very closely with the syllabus to understand and accurately reflect the requirements of the subject matter and skills in our content. We engage curriculum subject experts to write exam-style items and assessment tasks because we know that this requires a highly specific area of expertise. This unique and well-considered response to preparing syllabus resources to support implementation for Queensland schools is based on the knowledge of preparing hundreds of thousands of Australian students for their high-stakes assessments and enabling success. Pearson are experienced in setting students up for success in senior years and embed this experience in the new QCE resources to ensure you are equipped so they can shine. For students to make connections at the level demanded by the syllabus subject matter and external examinations, careful development of content with scaffolding of concepts is required. Thought must be invested in explaining the why and how behind the science, together with accessible, contextualised examples and supportive images. Together, these are the key to building knowledge acquisition at the required standard. To achieve this level of competency, it is essential that content delves beyond just stating the facts and bare minimal information. Furthermore, for the learning to be consolidated, question sets must assess students at the appropriate cognition level to test that key concepts are grasped. This can only be achieved in the new QCE, where assessment items explicitly target syllabus cognitions and are developed using the Mazzano and Kendall taxonomy levels. Anything that does not uphold this standard will not be an appropriate resource to prepare students for the nature of items in high-stakes examinations, which will be externally set and assessed by the QCAA, meaning there is no room for compromise. Where these criteria are not addressed in a resource, students will be left underprepared to respond effectively to exam items. This is a critical point of difference between Pearson and other publishers. Experienced Queensland teachers who have been working on syllabus expert writing teams and senior science panels have joined together to develop content that translates the QCE syllabus intent and subject matter accurately into a course of study through this new series of resources. Many Queensland teachers have been involved in the conceptualisation, authoring and development of this series, and I believe that this involvement is at the heart of the success of what has been produced for Queensland schools. Pearson genuinely appreciate the time, thought and dedication that Queensland teachers have invested in working on these resources, ensuring that the final product is one that suits and works well in Queensland classrooms. We have a number of quality assurance measures in place, and each of these contributors also play a vital role in the process of publishing our educational resources. Learn more about our contributors on the Writing and Development Team page of your student workbook. Pearson's suite of resources. Pearson are publishing biology, chemistry and physics in the general sciences for the new QCE. The course of study consists of 4 units, Units 1 and 2, then Units 3 and 4. There is one student book published to support Units 1 and 2, and a second student book to support Units 3 and 4. Every student book comes with an ebook called Reader Plus. This provides the ultimate flexibility in teaching and learning, offering book fidelity with additional assets to support and extend learning for both students and teachers. A skills and assessment workbook complements each student book. Additional teacher support is also available. A closer look at the student books for Pearson Biology, Chemistry and Physics, and the complementary Write-In skills and assessment workbooks, developed to provide further practice, application and consolidation of subject matter and skills through worksheets, practical activities and question sets. This workbook integrates seamlessly into the student book for a complete teaching and learning program. Together, these 2 resources provide everything for the new QCE course, achieving the rigour and depth in subject matter necessary to fully address the new QCE requirements and prepare your students. About a year before we began work on this new series for Queensland Senior Science, in 2016, Pearson published a new and improved 2nd edition of Pearson Science. This series was recently awarded the Best School Science Resource in Australia by the Educational Publishers Association, winning both the Best Junior Resource published for science or maths and the Best Teacher Resource. More than 50% of schools across Australia use Pearson Science 2nd edition. This new series for Queensland Senior Science extends the approach taken with Pearson Science 2nd edition, borrowing many common features and a consistent approach to learning science, providing continuity and maintaining standards from 7 to 12, including high quality, trusted science content written to fully address syllabus requirements, embedded best practice literacy and instructional design, reliable child practical activities, broad and challenging question sets, and a targeted approach to building skills. For those of you who may not be aware, Pearson Science now includes a series of step-up chapters to help launch students into senior studies of biology, chemistry, physics and psychology. Series features the foundation stones of a new series. In order to address and support all aspects of the new QCE syllabus, there are 3 foundation stones that this series has been built upon. An integration of Mazzano and Kendall's taxonomy, skills and assessment, including specific toolkits to support requirements of data and error analysis, as well as sample assessment tasks, and mandatory pracs, including PASCO Sparklabs and all accompanying resources. Foundation Stone 1, Mazzano and Kendall's taxonomy. The first of the 3 foundation stones for this series is the integration of Mazzano and Kendall's taxonomy. This taxonomy has been devised by educational researchers Robert Mazzano and John Kendall and is the key to correctly interpreting and addressing the syllabus objectives, covering the syllabus subject matter at an appropriate level of depth, and in understanding and responding to assessment instructions. You may notice as you read through the syllabus that some terms in the objectives are underlined. Many of the underlined terms are the cognitive verbs. The cognitive verbs stated in the syllabus, such as explain, describe, interpret, evaluate, analyse and call, are defined by the Mazzano and Kendall taxonomy. These verbs are often placed at the start of dot points to identify the level of thinking, cognitive process, you are expected to demonstrate. So the cognitive verbs driving the syllabus objectives and topic subject matter are not randomly chosen. Cognitive verbs are signals to the learner of the type of thinking to be demonstrated. By gaining a better understanding of cognitive verbs, students will be able to respond more satisfactorily to questions and instructions in assessment tasks. These verbs can be categorised based on the level of thinking required, ranging from remembering to complex thinking. The syllabus uses a modified version of the Mazzano and Kendall taxonomy and arranges the cognitive verbs into one of 4 levels: retrieval, comprehension, analysis, and knowledge utilisation. Pearson have applied this approach when developing this series and built on the same foundation as the syllabus. This has ensured that the highly prescriptive QCE syllabus is translated accurately into resources where the subject matter is specific and does not extend or deviate from the syllabus requirements. The content builds understanding at the appropriate level, and the questions target and assess at the correct cognition. It's important to note that the cognitive verbs used in the syllabus subject matter dot points indicate the highest level of thinking that will be assessed on the external examination. The one exception to this is in the research investigation, which, due to the nature of the assessment instrument, promotes students to engage with concepts at a higher level than the syllabus prescribes. Student work or evidence is only required to demonstrate cognitive understanding as prescribed in the syllabus, though the nature of analysing, evaluating and interpreting evidence will make it difficult to produce work at only the level of the syllabus subject matter. In the preliminary material of every student book, we have included Understanding Assessment Instructions, a 9-page guide on how to interpret the syllabus cognitive verbs, Mazzano and Kendall's taxonomy, strategies and examples for understanding the question or instruction, cognitive processes for assessment tasks, and a categorised list of cognitive verbs with their definition. The Pearson Queensland Senior Science Series provides a comprehensive number of questions and instructions. The review instruction sets are arranged by cognitive levels using the Mazzano and Kendall taxonomy and have been carefully written to align with the syllabus cognitive verbs and cognitions in the dot points to provide students with the opportunity to demonstrate knowledge and application of the subject matter across all levels. In the student book, a chapter is chunked into modules, which have clear learning objectives at the beginning drawn from the subject matter and syllabus objectives. A module explains and unpacks using a scaffolded approach several concepts, then concludes with a summary of salient points and a module review set. The review set key questions address the cognitive requirements of the subject matter, focusing on assessing students' understanding and ability to recall the key concepts of the module. Cognition levels of retrieval, comprehension, and analysis are targeted to test that key concepts are well understood. A chapter is comprised of several modules. The chapter review lists all key terms covered, which appear in bold text throughout the core content, and key terms are further supported in the glossary. The chapter review also includes a comprehensive review set, which connects concepts and skills from across the chapter and provides experience in data analysis where the subject matter lends itself to this and is stipulated by the subject matter cognitions. The chapter review tests that key concepts are well understood and expands the cognitive level to knowledge utilisation. The end of the student book includes a comprehensive contextual glossary. This lists all of the key terms from the core content, together with the cognitive verbs. Where a term is included in the QCEE syllabus glossary, this definition is also the one provided in the Pearson student book glossary. Each unit concludes with a comprehensive set of exam-style questions organised by topic. These are being prepared by highly experienced State Curriculum Authority examiners and assessors to ensure we meet the requirements of the QCE objectives. These sets feature more than 50 high-quality multiple choice and extended response questions to assist students to draw together their knowledge and understanding of the whole unit. No other series for Queensland offers this. It's important to note that exam papers from other states are not appropriate preparation for Queensland students undertaking the new QCE. Whilst some publishers will provide these as part of their offer, do not pay for these as they are freely available online via the Curriculum Authority webpage and come with the examiner's reports. In the Skills and Assessment workbook, there are review sets by topic. These topic review sets are also written in an exam style to enable further practice and exposure to this assessment type and to apply learning across concepts in a topic as intended by the QCE syllabus. Each topic concludes with a set of exam style questions, so there are 4 to 6 per skills and assessment book, 4 to 6 sets per skills and assessment book. We have carefully segmented answers to allow teachers more flexibility in providing students with summative assessment experiences. So in the teacher resources, teachers will have access to all of the answers, whereas students will only have answers to the module reviews and the try yourself problems that accompany the worked examples. When we author answers, our authors write fully worked solutions rather than straightforward answers. So the fully worked solutions mirror the level of response that students are expected to give to achieve full marks. All fully worked solutions are written during the chapter authoring process, and the answers are written as the questions are developed as well. Foundation Stone 2, Skills and Assessment Support. The second foundation stone for this series is the Skills and Assessment Support. In the student book, you will see there are 4 reference pages to Chapter 1, Skills and Assessment Toolkit. This refers to Chapter 1 appearing on your ebook. This extensive guide has been developed for the new QCE to specifically provide a wealth of support, worked examples, skill builders, and tips for successfully developing skills, completing practical activities, and responding to assessment tasks. Part A focuses on working scientifically and features a guide to data and error analysis, pertinent to the data test, student experiment, and research investigation, and contextually addresses the mathematical skills required for the course. Part B supports through all aspects of the student experiment. The QCEE objectives and instrument-specific marking guide for the assessment are explained. This includes examples of how to modify, extend, refine, or redirect the initial practical, how to write a research question or hypothesis, through to correctly writing up a scientific report. Part C guides from development of a research question through to presenting a report for the research investigation. The QCEE objectives and instrument-specific marking guide for the assessment are explained. This includes information about locating and evaluating suitable secondary sources for the research, advice on scientific writing style, and different ways to present the report. Part D focuses on the 2 summative external assessment papers, which covers the whole Unit 3-4 course. Discover strategies and techniques to enhance learning, revision, and examination performance. The skills and assessment toolkits take a common approach across all general sciences. However, we have taken the time to provide advice, examples, and guidance pertinent to the specific course and unit contexts. For this reason, schools may find this material useful for other general sciences. This chapter is not printed in your page proofs, so if you would like to see the Unit 1 and 2 version, please contact your key account manager, who will be happy to come out to your faculty so you can learn more about how this resource supports implementation. The purpose of the Skills and Assessment workbooks is to provide practical, scaffolded, and supported opportunities for further application, consolidation, and reflection upon subject matter and skills. At the beginning of the Skills and Assessment workbook, there is a toolkit which goes hand in hand with the Student Book Chapter 1 Skills and Assessment Toolkit. Building skills in the key areas of practical activities, research, thinking, organising, collecting and presenting, each skill developed in the toolkit is directly relevant to applications in activities, questions and assessment tasks throughout the course. This practical toolkit includes guides and checklists, making it an effective yet simple addition. The Skills and Assessment workbook contains sample assessment tasks for the data test, student experiment, and research investigation. There are also sets of exam-style questions and instructions by topic, providing exposure and familiarity with an examination experience. The sample assessment tasks are scaffolded to provide practice in responding to assessment task requirements, with guidance responding to each aspect of the assessment. Tasks and instructions have been carefully authored to ensure that they use the language of the objectives and ISMGs, and model responses are provided for teachers. Foundation Stone 3, Mandatory Practicals. The third foundation stone is the thorough, consistent and effective coverage of the mandatory practicals. All mandatory practicals are included in the student book and come with a complimentary PASCO Sparklab on Reader Plus. Mandatory practicals have been comprehensively developed to fully address the syllabus requirements and maximise the learning opportunity. Each practical has been trialled and tested to ensure it can be safely performed and yields effective results. It includes a depth of questions and applications that enable students to develop and demonstrate required manipulative and data and error analysis skills. I'm now going to hand over to Doug Bale from Pearson's partner PASCO.
Thanks, Alicia. I just want to give you a bit of a rundown of exactly what these Sparklabs are. Sparklabs are developed in PASCO software to provide a highly interactive lab activity that combines content, student response with data collection and analysis. The idea is to provide a consistent, publishable digital format for practical activities that's complementary to the traditional paper approach adopted in the student and activity books. They're developed to address the student needs for working with digital technologies, which they're going to be consistently exposed to when they get to tertiary studies in the workplace. The vast majority of work now done at tertiary level is digital, and we'd love for students to get that opportunity to interact with the same kind of resources at a secondary level. It's an extra resource. We're not intending that it be compulsory in any way, shape or form, and there's no obligation to use these when using the Pearson text, nor is there any obligation to use PASCO equipment. Each of the mandatory practice has been designed to directly align with practice in the student book and the skills and assessment book mandatory practice, and we've adopted the same aims, introduction and questions so that students can use these as a complete alternative. They provide a best practice option while also allowing complete equipment independence. Every lab has been developed to include an option for manual data entry after measuring with the choice of equipment. Sparklabs also include a digital lab book, allowing students to record date-tagged progress over time in experimental investigation. So you may want to, for example, use these for students to design their own labs and use them as an electronic logbook for recording their progress over time. They run in PASCO Sparklab software. This is free for all iOS, Android and Chrome devices. And we're providing a free license for any student or any school adopting the Pearson books or PASCO equipment for both Mac and Windows. This is an unlimited homeschool license and there's no renewal fee, it's yours forever. What's very specific about these labs is that they meet exactly the specific requirements of the new senior syllabus and have been written very specifically for Queensland. We use the same language and instructional verbs as the syllabus. They are not a rewrite or repackage for an international resource. They adopt the approach to uncertainties consistent with the new syllabus, and they also expose students to the approaches that may be encountered at tertiary studies. PASCO head office has also committed to adding additional features specifically for Queensland, so that the approach to error bars that's used in particular in physics will be there for you. Sparklabs are being written now and they'll be available progressively through 2018 and 2019. Configuration files will also be made available for schools that have adopted Capstone, our higher end software for physics, and they'll be available too. Down the track, we'll also add additional support for marine science and agriculture science as we get those ready. Thanks, Alicia.
Thank you, Doug. There are additional support resources for students and teachers around the core components that we've spoken about today. This is an overview of the resources that Pearson provide as support and to complement and enhance the teaching and learning experience. So you'll see that teachers and students receive fully worked solutions to every single question in the student book. Teachers receive full answers and fully worked solutions to all assessment tasks and worksheets in the skills and assessment books as well. We provide a wealth of additional support, including templates for student risk assessments and practical designs, the Sparklabs that Doug's spoken through, interactives and activities, animations, videos, and web links for every chapter. In the teacher support, you'll also find practice exams that are included for units 1 to 4, teacher support notes for every practical activity, including common mistakes, alternative equipment, expected outcomes and results, full risk assessments completed by experienced school lab technicians that include a lab technician's checklist and recipe, and safety notes as well. We also provide unit teacher learning and assessment programs using a similar template to that provided in the QCEE TLABs. Snapshot of the videos and interactives, and Kim and Clint, our key account managers, can demonstrate these for you if you'd like to see more. And these are the teaching, learning and assessment programs that I spoke about. As we finalise the student books, we'll be adding page references against modules, and we'll upload again soon to the marketing page. I've been asked by a number of teachers why the TLABs do not always follow the syllabus order of subject matter and dot points. The reason for this is that the syllabus has grouped concepts together logically by topic, but this is not always the best sequence for teaching and learning, since some latter dot points are relevant to building understanding in earlier content. So we've taken an approach to ensure a logical pathway through the content rather than following the syllabus. You will also see that the TLABs the QCEE have published for chemistry units 1 and 2 have mixed up subject matter dot points in different sequences to the syllabus, and the TLAB jumps across topics in order to achieve a logical narrative through the course. Availability of content. We're able to supply early versions of our planning resources to schools that have selected to go with Pearson, Queensland Biology, Chemistry and Physics. And starting in Term 4, content will be available for all 3 Year 11 courses for the start of Term 4. On our marketing site, you will also be able to see quite a number of chapters that we've uploaded together with work programs, and later this week or early next week, you'll see examples of content from the skills and assessment workbooks that complement each student book. Publication dates for biology, we'll have all resources out in October this year for units 1 and 2. For chemistry, from September, we'll have content available, and for physics, again from October. But like I said, if you're ready before then, please let us know and we can be ready for you. This is an overview of pricing. So there's a number of different purchasing options available to schools. One thing that I did want to note was that where schools make a decision to go with Pearson for a particular subject, we'll be providing the teacher support for free. So it's just a means of us ensuring the security of this wealth of resource is not made available to students. Okay, I think we have time for questions. So if anybody has a question that they'd like to ask, please feel free to write your question into the question box. I think we have maybe 1 or 2 here already. So a list of data loggers available for the PASCO support. So a question for Doug, sorry. Doug, do you have a list of the different materials?
We've just produced a full list of equipment, both traditional and where we can supply additional resources from PASCO for all the mandatory pracs. If you get in contact with us through Pearson, we have those lists available for you now. So you're welcome to those, and we can send them out as you need. We've designed it also, obviously, so it can work with pretty much anything. If you've got older equipment or other equipment, then we've taken that into account as well.
Thanks, Doug. While we wait and see if there's any other questions, I'll just introduce you to our key account managers, Kim and Clint. So they will both be able to support you, pop out and visit you if you've got any questions, and walk you through the series so you can see more detail around the components that I've spoken with today. Oh, there's quite a few questions there. How much is the Pearson license per year for the ebook? The ebook, you get access to the ebook for 24 months, and then there is a small renewal fee for reactivating that for the next student, which I think is around $5. Do the account managers come to the school to show us the text? Yes, they do. So you're welcome to contact them. You can see their contact details up on the screen now, but they also will be in touch with you following the webinar to provide you with follow-up resources and some links as well. Are you planning on writing a book for Earth and Environmental? Not at this stage, we're not supporting that course. However, Chapter 1 may be a useful guide in helping navigate through a lot of the assessment requirements there. So if your school does adopt Pearson for biology, chemistry or physics, probably biology is a little bit more conducive to the earth science requirements. You should definitely lean on that teacher to see if you can get access to having a look at that. What key differences do you see in your solution versus competitors? I think that the key differences will be that we have built this series from the ground up around the syllabus requirements. So you'll see that the content does target the cognition specifically, and that will be reflected very strongly in the question set. So where the questions are written as instructions and the cognitive verb is like leverages or borrows from the syllabus subject matter cognitive verbs. And you'll see that the answers that are written, or the fully worked solutions, target the level of response that students would be expected to give in an assessment type experience. So that's quite different to the approach that's taken by, for example, Oxford, where I understand they ask their schools to provide answers to the questions that they include in their textbooks. Will updates be available to teachers. I'm not quite sure what's meant by updates available to teachers, but we work very, very closely with the syllabus to ensure that as the syllabus evolves and changes, we align with that and make sure that anything that, has occurred previously in the syllabus is captured in our resources. However, we don't expect to see any further change to the syllabus. It's very stable. Psychology text, we don't have anything that we're publishing for psychology at this stage. However, chapter 1 is probably a very useful guide. Is there a minimum number of student books to get the teacher resource? I believe as long as you adopt that as part of your class set, as that's a school adoption, then you would receive access to the teacher resource. But you should talk to Kim or Clint about that. Okay, many schools are starting Unit 3 in Term 4, so your resources not being available till August is a bit concerning. That's okay. We can, if you can reach out to Kim or Clint, they'll be able to ensure you're supported immediately if you are ready to make a decision and you're ready to start. So we have content in very finalised form, and we're able to support you before we actually have hard copy printed final textbooks, which will be in another couple of months' time. Is the teacher resource a hard copy or just online? So the teacher resource materials are provided online. However, you're able to download those, you can print them off, you can bind them, you can prepare sets of fully worked solutions if you'd like to give those out to your students so that they can correct their own work. You can load them up on your learning management system. So you've got the flexibility and the freedom to do what you need with teacher resource material that we'll be providing. Okay, I can't see any other questions. So there's just a list of some handy links. Is there a list of suggested practicals? The QCA includes some suggested practicals in their syllabus. We didn't include suggested practicals in our student book. However, there are lots and lots of really terrific suggested and additional practicals that we've included in the skills and assessment workbook. So that gives teachers the option to decide whether they would like to do those additional practicals to provide their students with extra practice and experience around practical activities. So if any other questions come up, I think we'll wind up for now. Thank you so much for joining me. I've really appreciated having such strong attendance at the webinar, and we'll also be in touch in the coming week or so and provide you with a link of the recording of this webinar. Thank you.